All right, well, Casey here. Today we're going to talk about 5 things to look for when hiring a Webflow designer. And you think about that and you're like, man, it should just be easy. All I need to do is I need to go out, search for somebody who has Webflow designer or Webflow developer on their website, give them a call and hire them. And you might think it's that easy, but maybe a couple months from now, your website is just not working like it should, or the leads are not rolling in, or you go to maybe work with someone else and they're having trouble updating your website. You see, it should be easy, but it's really not. And so there are 5 things that you need to look for so that you don't experience a bunch of pain points in the future. And so let's get into it. Number one, they need to understand design principles, not just Webflow. You see, a lot of people can learn Webflow and how to manipulate things on a website, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they understand design principles and they really understand how to actually build a website. Right? They need to understand visual hierarchy and typography and spacing and what really leads to conversion on a website. And so, what you need to ask them is, can you walk me through your design process? There needs to be some sort of process that they have when it comes to designing a website. And if they can't answer that question, if they can't give you a process, then they're probably not the person that you want to work with. All right, number 2, they're responsive and communicative, right? This should be, basics when it comes to business, but there are many people who just do not respond well. They ghost you, or they take some requirements and they come back like 3 weeks later with everything laid out and they wonder why it is that you don't like what they have provided to you. And so you need to ask them, what does your communication process look like during a project? When are they going to check in? What types of meetings are you guys going to have? How often are those check-ins going to take place? Right. There needs to be some sort of process when it comes to a project. All right, number 3, they build clean, scalable sites. Now, I see this time and time again. Companies contract with me all of the time. They've already had somebody build a website for them and they turn things over to me and they want me just to add a new page, or they just want me to add a section or two to one of the pages that has already been created. And I open up the project and it's just a nightmare. Nothing is, cleanly built. Class names are all over the place. If some elements even have a class name, the site is just not scalable. And so sometimes I have to go back to the person and say, look, this is not going to be as easy as we first talked about, just to add a page or to add a section. I really need to go through and clean up the project. And so you don't end up in that situation where you think something is going to be much easier than it actually is. Maybe your budget now has to get extended because it's going to take way longer in order to clean up the project before you can even add the new page or add the new section that you wanted to add. The thing that you need to ask somebody when you were looking at hiring them is, how do you structure Webflow projects for scalability? Now, at this point, they should talk about some sort of framework that they are using. Some popular frameworks are like Client First or Mast or Lumos. Some people need to be mentioning some framework it is that they are using in order to, create a clean, scalable project. All right, number 4, they understand SEO basics. And now we can even throw in their AEO basics in the age of AI. You can't just design a page and leave it at that. There needs to be some understanding of how SEO actually works. And SEO stands for search engine optimization, or AEO is answer engine optimization. And so people need to understand how that works, because that's really going to determine how the page should be built, how it should be structured. You could take a page and you can design it and you can build it, and it can work wonders for you from an SEO perspective. Or you could take maybe even that same design and build the page a completely different way, and it ends up not working at all. And so you need to ask them, how do you handle on-page SEO when building a website. And you need to listen to what they have to say. Do they even have an answer to that particular question? Do they even take SEO into account when they are building their website? If they're not, then they're not the person that you want to work for. Now, number 5, they have a proven process. Processes are super important. It keeps everything on schedule. It makes sure that the project doesn't go off of the rails, and the person who you're working with is able to get all of the information that they need. And so you need to ask them, what does your typical process or project timeline and process look like? People need to have an answer to that. They need to be able to walk you through that. And I would even go as far to say as if they don't even have this outlined on their website, at least in some sort of, bare bones way, then you probably shouldn't even book a meeting with them to begin with. People need to have a process. There needs to be some sort of timeline that people are working through. And this is going to make sure that your project is delivered on time and in the best way possible. And so ask this question here. So just to review, 5 things to look for when hiring a Webflow designer or developer. Do they understand design principles? Are they responsive and communicative? Do they build clean, scalable websites? Do they understand SEO basics? And do they have a proven process that they can share with you? If someone cannot answer these 5 basic questions, then you should probably move on to somebody else. Well, I hope this has helped you. Maybe you can put down in the comments some other, things that you might add in that people should be looking for whenever they are looking for a Webflow designer or developer. Or if you're brave, share some of your horror stories of actually building a website and finding out on the back end that somebody did not use one of these 5, and so things ended up not working out in the best way for you and for your business, and maybe you had to start over and build a whole nother website. And if you need some help, feel free to reach out. I'll see what I can do, or maybe we can even start a project together. Until next time.